Why did you choose FAMU? You from this area, right?
Right. I was kind of in a culture shock when I seen FAMU.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I came there, I seen all the students from SBI in their suits. I think I came on a fried chicken Wednesday, and so I smelled that in the hallway. So all of this was going on. I'm like, this is probably where I need to be.
Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
I am so excited to be here with Mr. Kyle Footman.
Yes.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So it's been a few years since you and I originally met.
Yes. About what, 2 to 3?
About. And at the time you were a student at FAMU.
Right.
And since then you graduated
Yes.
from,
J School,
All
Florida
right.
A&M University.
okay. And what was your major, broadcast or?
PR, public relations.
PR, okay. And so let's talk
Yeah.
a little bit, refresh my memory, I guess, on some of your history. Like, why did you choose FAMU? You from this area, right?
Right. True. So actually, I was set on attending Florida State. My dad, he's a diehard FSU football fan.
Okay.
So growing up, I only seen the culture of FSU, not FAMU. But then, while I was in high school, I didn't want to go to college. And the reason why I didn't want to go, because no male in my family had graduated from college. So at that time, I was like, I want to be successful. I don't want to go to college. So that's how I landed on real estate.
Okay.
So in my 11th grade year, I started studying real estate, and I said, as soon as I graduate, I'm going to take off and try it. So I did that, and then while I was doing that, I also decided the same reason I didn't want to go to college is the reason I should want to go, because no male in my family ever been. So at that time, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do real estate. I'm gonna go to college. So I went to TCC. However, while I was at TCC, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go, which was at the time was Florida State. But my advisor of Black Male Achievers at TCC, Reggie Grant, he connected me with Miss Hughes in J School.
Okay.
And from there, Miss Hughes kind of like took me underneath her wings, and she was showing me J School, and I was following a few of the students in J School, and I was seeing what they were doing. I'm like, this is excellence. Like, I was kind of in a culture shock when I seen FAMU.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I came there, I seen all the students from SBI in their suits. I think I came on a fried chicken Wednesday, and so I smelled that in the hallway. So all of this was going on. I'm like, this is probably where I need to be.
That fried chicken Wednesday is
It probably got.
yeah, I
think
know.
that's what it
Look, people talk about that far and wide, so that's one of our
Yes.
tactics over there on the hill.
It is, and they got me on a good Wednesday, and I smelled it in the hallways. I say, this feels like home.
Okay.
So after that, it was really hard for me because I was already accepted into FSU, and I wasn't accepted into FAMU yet. It was like a big delay. But after a lot of prayers and just trying to figure out where I needed to be, I landed up at FAMU.
Okay. And what was your FAMU experience like?
My FAMU experience was good. It's kind of a blur because I was doing so much other stuff. So I was, an entrepreneur. I was working. I was doing.
Because you were doing real estate while you were in college, right?
Exactly. So I really didn't have that full-blown FAMU experience. However, I am from Tallahassee, so I did pop out when I was in high school to set Fridays and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I got that experience. But other than that, it was a great experience. I got involved in a few organizations. I was the director of education for the real estate club
Okay.
at FAMU. I was also involved in PRSSA. So I did a lot while I was there, but I could have done more.
Okay. Well, then you
Yeah.
know, it's the universe, the university, and so you are learning
Yeah.
about a number of different things and trying to be involved in
Exactly.
some things as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know, real estate you've been doing since high school, but you after graduation started your own auto dealership.
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me about that.
So it was, I'm actually coming up on a year. Next month will be a year. I started that because I love cars. And I was like, I have to turn this burning passion into like some type of profit. So at the time, I started to research the car industry, and I was like, Tallahassee needs something different in the automotive business. So I'm sure a lot of us been to car lots and we get anxious because it's like, oh, they're finna sell us something. Like you can't even get out your car, somebody's standing at the car like, hey, you need any
Right,
help or something like
right.
that. So I wanted to come in the automotive industry and change it from the inside out. So I wanted a real laid back, quality experience when you're purchasing a car.
Okay.
So something where I can deliver the car to you. It's no pressure. It's no, being persuaded to purchase a specific vehicle.
Okay.
It's just genuinely like doing that research to figure out what is good for you. So I felt like Tallahassee needed that, so I decided to do it. It's going on a year now. And
Okay.
It's going.
So you do research to find cars that people may want specifically, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So, for example, I have a program at Footman Motorsports, and it's basically find your car service.
Okay.
So if you don't know what you want, or you do know what you want, I will find that specific vehicle for you. So if you're like, hey, Kyle, I want a luxury SUV, I don't know what brand, but then they would tell me like some things that's important to them. So for example, if a client tells me, say, hey, I want a luxury SUV, but reliability is important to me, then I'm thinking off the top of my head like an Infiniti QX70, like a truck like that. So it's just basically listening to what their wants are and finding that vehicle for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now with the pandemic, I know that shut down production of a number of the auto manufacturers. And what impact or effects has that had on your business?
Oh my gosh, it did me bad.
Okay.
It did me so bad because I came in, it was like I came in at a sweet spot and then boom, it was just like a whole shift. It wasn't even just production with the automotive industry, it was the chips that operate the vehicles. It was also that a lot of these manufacturers need to go electric by a certain year. I think in California they have to go electric by 2025. So the industry was changing. Me doing my research, I knew this before I got into it, but I'm like, I'm Superman. I can come in and I can do it. I'm like on top of the world. And then I got a rude of awakening when it all happened. What it did primarily is show me that I had to change a lot of my strategies like very quickly. One, finding vehicles for somebody specifically was very hard because it wasn't much out there to find. I'm going to auctions, it's like I'm going to other dealerships, I'm spreading myself thin on top of my busy schedule that I already have. And I couldn't deliver on the specific vehicles that people needed because it wasn't out there.
Right.
And if it was out there, it was a pretty penny. So what I had decided to do is go completely online during this shift.
Okay.
So I was selling vehicles to dealers, dealerships only, and businesses and corporations. That kept me afloat during that time.
Okay. So that's been going well.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
So I just had to adapt.
Adapt, pivot,
Adjust
right?
it, yes. Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurship, indeed.
Talk about conversations with Nicole.
Stay tuned for more conversations with Nicole.
What is good, Tallahassee? If you are a brand, a business owner, a real estate agent, an entrepreneur, an artist of any kind, be sure to contact us at 7-Figure Vision for all of your photography and videography needs. We can shoot your next music video, event, documentary, or even document the process of your next flip as a real estate investor. So be sure to book us right now at VIIFIGUREVISION.com, or you can visit us on Facebook or Instagram at VIIFIGUREVISION.
Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Now talk to me about the real estate business. I mean, I know you've been doing that the longest, but
Yes.
there's also been quite a shortage of what we would call affordable housing.
Yes. So it's a lot. One, I think what's going on now in the real estate industry is literally wiping out the middle class when it comes to properties. Because one, I dealt with buyers that last year, I was literally looking at it the other day. Last year, they were qualified for this amount, and it could have got them a lot more house last year than what it could have now. So now people who have to have a house, they're settling on some very big things that they want just to get into place. And affordable housing, I mean, in Tallahassee is very scarce, and I can only imagine in other cities, because I do real estate in other cities as well with my business partners. And I did one in Atlanta, it had 81 offers, and I'm like,
Wow.
81. So just, it's very scary. It's very scary. So what I do with my buyers now is really just try to pick up on what they need and get them as prepared as possible. So when we do come across something, it's like they already know what to expect. They know they're
Okay.
going to be in a multiple offer situation. So you need to come prepared to fight. You need to come prepared to do your best foot forward. So just giving them that mindset is what's kind of setting my buyers apart.
Okay, well that's good to know. And then
Yeah.
I've seen on your social a number of testimonies from your clients. What are some of the things
Yes.
that they say about you?
They say, so I think something that's consistent with they all say is I'm patient, which I am. One, I understand that they're buying, like, this will be one of the biggest purchases they're ever making in their lives.
Right.
So that's delicate, and a lot of my clients are first-time home buyers. So I have to have that patience, and I have to be able to guide them through that, because if you don't and you have the wrong representation, it can take you down a completely different road, and then you can lose a lot of money. So I think one of the biggest things is patience. I'm also very transparent, and I love what I do.
Do you?
Yes.
Why you love it so much?
I love the freedom. The freedom of, like, there's no glass ceiling, like it's nothing above me. Like, I can do whatever. Nobody can dictate how many people I help, how much money I make. Nobody can dictate the impact I have. And also in this business, I can be myself. I can go out Saturday night, have a drink. I can go in the next day, go in the office and work. I can work on my own schedule.
Okay.
It's just all of that. I can live the life I want to live.
Gotcha. Now, were there any mentors along the way that played an important role in your life?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay.
I always admired people from a distance. One, because I'm very careful of what I take in. So I would just watch people from a distance and see how they move. I'm like, okay, I like that. I might implement some of that stuff and put my own twist to it.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Now, have you served as a mentor to anyone?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
So I actually started a mentorship program while at FAMU.
Okay.
Where students at FAMU in different programs could actually get a mentorship credit by me being their mentor. And so what we'll do, I called it an internship. And basically, I provided students internship opportunities where they'll be underneath my wing learning real estate. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Do you know if that's still going?
I had stopped it.
Okay, you stopped it.
I
All
stopped
right.
it.
Okay.
It was a little bit overwhelming because whenever I do something, I want to be able to provide like quality. And I noticed that my schedule was too busy to provide what they needed.
Gotcha.
So I got to a point where it was like, okay, I'm not going to do it if I can't do it right.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you have two businesses. How are you managing all of that? Your time management.
It is. So what I started to do now is delegate. And it's still hard for me. So
It's hard to delegate.
It's so hard for me to delegate. It's
And
so
why is
hard.
that?
Because I take pride in what I do. Like I love what I do. I take pride in what I do. And like if you want something done right, the saying you got to do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself, right? Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a bad mindset to have. But I really take a lot of pride in what I do. But now I'm learning as I grow is that you have to delegate tasks in order to grow. So that's where I'm at right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the qualities of leadership that you possess that you maybe want to pass on to young people or some of the folks that you are delegating to?
Okay, so I think one of the biggest things is that I stand for is luxury. So luxury to me isn't a price, it's an experience.
Okay.
So everything I provide from service to my communication to my grammar to everything, it's luxury. So another thing is I have to understand who I'm trying to target, like who I want to mentor. I'm not for everybody. So if people want my type of mentorship or want something from me, they have to want what I possess, like the qualities, which is luxury, integrity, honesty, transparency, and all of those things I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, the pandemic has brought a lot of things: social unrest, racial unrest.
Yes.
What was the impact on, with those things happening? We had several deaths of black folks that really just caused I don't know, it's almost like a gunshot across the world. What was that like for you in terms of the impact during that time?
It felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest, like I couldn't breathe. One with the black stuff that was going on, it was a reality. Like that could have been me. It could have been my dad, my brother, my nephew. And just seeing the disrespect and the disregards that has been here for black people and it's still going on till this day. It's a sad reality that we wake up and it's just figuring out how can I play a role into like helping this? What can I do to make it better? A lot of stuff is out of my control, then that's something that I think I had to put in perspective once I learned that. And then I'm like, okay, some stuff is out of my control, but what can I do? How can I make a difference? And then when I found peace in that during that time, that's when I started to get out of that dark space and that elephant started to get off of my chest.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. I think that we protest in different ways. Right, it's not always on the streets or in front of the Capitol or what have you. What do you believe is the way that you protest?
I think it's what I do on a daily basis. That's even comes from like charity work and stuff like that. I get that question a lot. But I think it's what you do on a daily basis. The young black boy that you give a compliment that you see in the store, or the lady that needs help putting her groceries up, or it's just the small things that you do on a daily basis. That's my idea of making this world a better place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to a young person that might want to follow in your footsteps in terms of being a serial entrepreneur?
Yes. Honestly, I would tell them just to stay in your own lane. You can't look at what this person has going on. You can't look at their story. You really have to just stay focused and not have tunnel vision. You have to have playing ground vision. You have to see all the things that's going on, but don't focus on anybody else. Just focus on your journey. Keep pushing. It will not be easy. And then what makes it harder for younger people in my generation or the generation behind me is that social media plays a huge part in that. So you will see people, even probably like myself, like, oh my gosh, you know, he's just amazing, which I am. I'm amazing, but you don't see what it took for me to get here. So a lot of people reach out wanting what I have, but are you willing to do what I did to get there?
You're putting in the work, right?
Yes, so it's just putting those things in perspective for people. I think that's the only thing that's going to get them to where they need to be.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So my final question
Yes.
is, what do you believe is your greater work?
It would have to be impact. And the reason why I say impact is because of the impact that I have on people's lives, from my friends to my family to the people that I mentor, the people that I see on a daily basis. It's like they see what I do from real estate, the car dealership, being a first generation college graduate. It's that impact that I think will live on forever. And that's something that I think is my greater good.
Okay, well, I definitely think that you are making that impact
Thank you.
and are touching the lives of many. So I want to thank you for taking a few moments today to chat with me.
Thank you.
And much success to you in the future.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, and thank you all for joining us on Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversations. We'll see you next time.